Yes, people, good morning. Welcome to United View. I've got two bits of music in my ear and it's very annoying. There you go. Let's pause that one.
Disgrace your cheat flex.
Disgrace and cheat.
Technology and Flex strike again.
Technology and Fleck had to get the AirPods to sync back
the
up with the new operating system. Yeah, you say Fleck and technology. I've upgraded. Yeah, I've upgraded.
Yeah.
To like,
why did you upgrade
an operating system that's like 3 behind? But yeah.
Why did you upgrade?
I was getting technicals. Yeah. But that's when I want to upgrade, when it fully kicks you off. I like to do it to its final, final period where it's like,
do you know what, as well?
Same with my phone, same with this.
It convinced me. I did an upgrade as well last night as well. Upgrade with mine.
Bloody hell. I just done this because you was on this one because I thought it works.
Well, I want to test. I'm testing so that in the future, you'll be like, oh, when I need to upgrade, does this one work? I'm your guinea pig, yeah? I'm your canary down the mine. That's what it is, yeah?
Fair enough. I like it. There was breaking news last night, not this morning. Not right now. This isn't breaking news that only we know about from just now. This is breaking news from yesterday evening. But guess what? We was all watching Europa League, and guess what? A lot of us have different commitments and things like that, and a lot of us stick to the schedule. And this is our schedule, okay? So,
and in fairness, it was late. It was late last night. Wasn't it? It was late last night.
Exactly. It was late. And I tell you what, if you in this game, as a lot of people will know. Or maybe not know if you're not actually in this industry. If you go live at every single opportunity, if you've got the resources, great. But when you don't, or you're trying to build, listen, it's draining. It's draining. Family comes first. Do you know what I mean? Family comes first. Mental well-being comes first, and you talk about it when you talk about it. So the breaking news from last night was straight at Mason Mount. What's happening?
Yes, it was quite interesting because it started off from an exclusive from the Telegraph from Jason Burt and James Ducker, give them their credit because they were the first ones to report it, saying that Manchester United have agreed personal terms with Mason Mount and are now expected to sign the Chelsea midfielder. This then obviously opened the proverbial floodgates when it came to all of the same information coming out. Samuel Luckhurst also saying that Mason Mount has agreed personal terms with Manchester United. It's understood Mount's representatives, his father Tony and agent Neil Fewings, have held advanced discussions with United, but there is no agreement between the clubs on a fee just yet. According to the Daily Mail, Sami Mokabel has said that the main hurdle to overcome will be to agree a fee. United value Mount, who has just 12 months left on his contract, at around £55 million, while Chelsea priced Mason at closer to £85 million, Fleck. 85? 1 year left on his contract. Seems like a lot. But Jacob Steinberg from The Guardian has said that the Manchester United players themselves are expecting Mount to join them this summer. There's an agreement on personal terms, but no fee agreed with Chelsea yet. Expectation is that Mount signs for United. Liverpool were the favourites not so long ago. And as I mentioned, the main hurdle to overcome is this price, is this agreeing a fee with Chelsea. United are reportedly wanting to spend max 60, whereas Chelsea reportedly value him at 85. 85, Flex? There is no way in a million years Manchester United buy Mason Mount for £85 million. Is there?
No.
Surely
well,
not.
They better not. They better not. I swear to God, they better not. Do you know what? It was really weird how quickly we got to a stage of this, really. Doesn't normally happen with Man United this quick. Forget the player. I mean, just doing a deal, this early, or the main foundations of a deal laid down for a significant signing, because he would be a significant signing. He'll be a big signing. We'll go into it in a minute about what you think about that. But in terms of Mason Mount, English, money it will cost from Chelsea to us, that's a significant signing. It's the first one of the summer, and it's one that is getting done, apparently quite quickly. So to agree personal terms that quick, Man United will know what it is that Chelsea want or where they're going to get to. You don't go to the player and say, listen, what do you want a week? How long a contract, what bonuses, this, that, and the other. And so, yeah, we're happy with that. All agreed, shake hands. Cool. Because you don't even normally enter into them conversations unless you know that the player's available as well. You can't just do that, So they probably would have got permission from Chelsea to do that. Do you know what I mean? So I said it yesterday when I was kind of reacting to it on Twitter. I was like, well, as long as we get another number 6, like a thoroughbred, like a Casemiro replacement, or someone to play alongside him as well, can start games. And the price isn't crazy, I'm not mad. I mean, I did say this when it just feels weird because I just didn't expect us to be in for him. I didn't. I just didn't. It just came from nowhere at the beginning. And I went, oh, don't know how I feel about that. Mason Mount, he's all right, but not the one that, But it's typical because remember when we get linked with all these players?
Yeah.
And then we were saying before, like, actually, maybe the people that we actually sign will be people we haven't been linked with for all we hear is Hoiljund and bloody.
But it happens quickly, doesn't it? Yeah.
And it just happens to be someone else. And it could be the same with striker situation as well.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think it does say quite a lot also about what potentially the transfer budget could actually be this summer, because the number that was put around was 100 million quid. And then in addition to that, player sales. But let's say if United are looking to sign Mason Mount for maximum 60, other people saying like 55, something like that. Even if that is the case, that's technically half of our budget. So that would imply that 100 million pound mark is probably not accurate. You know what I mean? Unless they're already factoring, we're definitely going to sell this player. We're definitely going to get rid of him. We're definitely going to get rid of that. But I don't think United would do that because they know they're not very good at selling people. So they wouldn't even, I don't think they would even count that in. So maybe it is a bit more than maybe had been put out there, because if you're spending 55 million on Mason Mount and you've just got just 100 million to spend, but your priority is a striker, or maybe 2 strikers and another midfielder, that's suggesting a transfer spend in the summer of at least like 200, maybe, because half of it's going to go on a striker.
Yeah, or you'd assume, or if you don't get Harry Kane, then you might be able to get a striker that's a different player for like 60 million instead, because we didn't get Kane. You're right. You don't know where this is going. Some people are suggesting or asking the questions. Does that mean that maybe they do know what's going on with the takeover in terms of, spending this money now? Well, I don't think it necessarily suggests that. The Glazers have kept everyone in the dark this whole time. But what it does say is if we do get this done before a takeover is announced and stuff like that, that element of business as usual has still been there then, really, because that would prove it. I know it's not about giving the Glazers credit or anything stupid like that, but I'm saying just in terms of business as usual, which is what Erik ten Hag is on, he is doing that. So, I mean, on Mason Mount, look, let's talk about him. Let's talk about him as a player, right? And the profile of player that he is.
Where do you sit on this? Because this is somewhat divisive. I've seen real opposite ends of the spectrum on this. Really shock. Something splits the fan base. I think it's interesting when it comes to it, because I've seen people very much like, I'm so disappointed with Manchester United. I'm furious that this is the kind of player that. I mean, honestly, I've seen it. I'm furious. I've seen other people that are like, he's amazing. He's amazing. You don't understand. And then there are people, which to be fair is where I sort of sit in the middle, but which is kind of like, would he have been my first 2 choice that I'd be thinking of when I'm thinking of midfielders this summer? No. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, he's terrible. And some people are saying, he's awful, because he's not. He's not terrible. And Erik ten Hag wants him. And I was actually just looking up now, whilst you give your thoughts on it, his stats, not this season, but the season prior. They were all right. In the Premier League last season, 11 goals, 10 assists. That's over 20 goal contributions in the season in 32 games. That ain't bad. From a midfielder, that's not bad. I mean, who in terms of our midfielders have they been hitting those numbers this season? You talk about Bruno. How many goals Casemiro get? That's not really his proper function. No,
Casemiro's got what, 5, 6,
something like that. Yeah. So I mean, if he could replicate that for us,
but Mason Mount's an attacking midfielder. He gets goals and assists. He does.
Exactly.
So we're going to look at it from both sides. I mean, the comment here: never in a million years would any Man United fan have guessed would be after Mason Mount. So crazy. Chelsea fans don't mind him leaving, which says a lot. I think with that, and I'll give my opinion in a sec. I think with that, you have to be careful, because circumstances mean everything. Just because I think sometimes we get too attached to, well, if they want to sell him, then he can't be that good. Yeah, but what about if the player decided, I don't want to be here anymore? That doesn't mean the player's rubbish. He's run his contract down and hasn't signed a new one and is making himself go into the last year. He may have decided a while ago, this is the other side of the coin, to combat the whole, they're letting him go, so he must be crap. Players can also be in control.
And that's not true.
And that's not true
either. Because
they offered him a new deal.
There's a report going, Pochettino wants him to stay. Poch wants him.
Exactly.
And this is a Pochettino who in the last few days has said, no, João Felix can go back to Atletico Madrid. I don't want him here. Now, that's not me saying Mason Mount's better than João Felix, but I'm just saying that that's the influence that Poch is having on his team. And also as well, we as United fans have got to have not short memories, because don't judge a player just on one season, because we've done that. We did that last season with Marcus Rashford. If we were still judging players based on one season, Marcus Rashford would have been gone in the summer. And people were saying that he should have gone in the summer at the time. You know, he's rubbish, he's Trashford, this, that, and the other. This season, he's just won our Player of the Year and Players Player of the Year. So don't judge someone based. Yeah, so don't judge someone based on a bad season, particularly when they have had good seasons as well. And this isn't me saying, "Oh, you're defending Mason Mount." I'm just saying that. Give me a better argument than he's had a bad season. You know what I mean? Or give me a better argument than, he's leaving Chelsea. Some Chelsea fans want it to leave. Some United fans want Bruno Fernandes to leave. Does that necessarily mean that Bruno's a terrible player? No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and no one else will take him in world football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People have got their opinions. Mason Mount's clearly decided that he doesn't want to be at Chelsea anymore. And again, he has had good seasons last season and the year prior to that. Whenever it was when Frank Lampard had his transfer embargo season, Mason Mount got good numbers that season as well. So again, I'm open to the argument of maybe he shouldn't come to United or he's not good enough or something like that. But give me some real proper arguments more than, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna go into and look at the profile of player. We'll go through some of your comments because it is literally it's split across. Well, United's life says, where is Mount playing in our team? We'll talk about what that would look like. MCT is like Man City. That's probably a Man City fan, to be fair. Someone else said, Sports Chris said Rashford is still not good enough for Manchester United. Doka says Mount ain't good. Stop it. And Dean B says we said this about Carrick at the time. Yeah, maybe didn't. Yeah, exactly. You think he would go on to do what he did. He played well under Lampard with the emoji. It's what Erik ten Hag wants. Back him. Mount is a good signing. He will improve us. Mount is not a number 10. People don't realize how versatile he is. Agreed with that. And yeah, okay. Let's go. Show Rahman says, for me, Mount doesn't add something we don't already have. Also, don't really see him as an 8. It's a slightly odd signing for me personally. And then WJ Barrett comes in. Thank you for the super chat. Actually, we'll do the super chats now. Says, now football. Mount is a good move, more reliable than Eriksen and can bag goals and assists. Champions League winner. I'll take him. In Erik ten Hag, we trust. Minset says, never been a big fan of Mount, but if Ten Hag wants him, we should fully back him. He's pretty good at carrying the ball. And Scar says, furious if this goes through. He's bang average. Look at that. From Minset to Scars, that is literally.
And again, they sum up what my point was when I'm saying, I've seen so opposite ends of the spectrum on this one.
He's going to be divisive.
Exactly. But I mean, also as well, you know.
Sorry, just quickly before you carry on, Owen. Sorry, one sec. Shantani says, Mount is Chelsea's player of the season for 2 years until last year's. And Ray Diaz says, can I get into the transfer rumors? Can't get into the transfer rumors, must be, until the Glazers are out.
Yeah.
Carry on.
No, I think whether, like I said, is that irrespective of maybe your opinions on it as well, certainly a positive that you can look at it as is that, one, again, Ten Hag wants this player and United are being proactive. So not only initially, I mean, there's to back a manager, it's more than just one player. But the point is that, again, you know, they're giving the manager what he wants. And certainly what he wants as well is for United to act fast. And I still say, you know, we can say that how fast United are being. You know, we've now got to agree a fee, and the gap between the fee is pretty big. So that might take a while to actually get to that point. But I mean, we're just in June today. Happy June 1st, guys. And we've already agreed personal terms with a player. That's not bad going for us, but, it's a start. No, I agree, Flex. I agree.
And I wouldn't have known unless, because I like when you talk and it'll tell you that your thing's muted as well.
Yeah. I was going to drag that out for like a full 5 minutes.
Oh, no, that wouldn't have happened because I would, no. Streamer, it's got my back. Streamer's got my back. Again, I'm not slurping down the bloody mic when in people's ears is not it. I just need to remember to, turn it back on again. Because I want to do this properly. I want to talk about the profile that he is versus what he isn't, in our opinions and you guys' opinions. And then talk about like the way that the club's moving. Like, what does this mean that we're getting a player this early and stuff like that? So, okay, let's do the pros and the cons in our opinions. Yeah. So I'll throw a couple in, you throw a couple in, and we'll see where we get to. And you guys also let us know as well. WJ Barrett said, I missed this members chat. I didn't do that. I brought that up.
I know it's here. It's 11 months. It says, yes, Flex and Owen, just wanted to use this member chat to say, I appreciate all the hard graft you put in, keeping us all in the know. Big ups, glory, UV. And there's also another one from Gandalfi here, who's been a member for 2 months, says, I think he's fairly okay. A bit of a disappointment of a signing. Hopefully Eric Ten Hag can improve him, like Aaron Ramsaka, etc. And Tabaslo has also been a member for 11 months. 11 months. Big up Tabaslo. Says, honestly, my argument is that there are better players out there that are cheaper and younger. Additionally, I don't like giving an English club money.
If they're English, I just don't want to give them money. And Viper says, I will take exactly. I will take Mount. Rice is overpriced by West Ham. He is different types of players, but yeah, I get what you're saying there. Right. Okay. So, right. Profile wise, let's think of how Eric Ten Hag wants to play. Where would he fit into this team and what are his attributes? Mason Mount, I would say, is a very mobile player in terms of he can travel well with the ball, he can press well, he can play at a good intensity, which is a tick. Yeah. Is that fair?
Yeah. You would say technical player, receive the ball in tight spaces, fairly adaptive either foot, like you said. Got a lot of energy, work rate is there, you would say as well, which is what Ten Hag is looking for, particularly when we've been looking at people like, say, Eriksen, which players that, 70 minutes, they're fatigued. And I think and I'm not saying that Mount is Eriksen, but I would see him playing in a similar position, like an 8, really. I would say that's the majority of his time. So, yes, I think that's probably fair to say.
I think it would be, if he did play for us, I think it would be, as an 8. And, like, it would be less emphasis on Bruno as, like, a sole 10 to, like, always have to find a pass or always have to play the killer ball, that's Bruno's DNA, to be honest. But a lot of times we see Casemiro as the deeper lying player and 2 8s ahead of that. We have seen Ten Hag wanting to do that for a while. It's just been personnel and depending on the game. Sometimes you might get Eriksen right back next to Casemiro. Sometimes Casemiro will go. Sometimes he's in the final third a lot, trying to get shots off and goals. And when we're playing, if we envisage how we want to play on the front foot, it isn't necessarily leave one defender, one midfielder back, because we're on the front foot. When we're on the front foot, we've got bloody centre halves in the opposition half. Like that notion of like, if you're a holding midfielder with 2 8s, like that, like on FIFA where you put stay back while attack, that's not how it works. In effect, you have people like Lindelof, Martinez, sometimes Varane, but those types of players, front foot attacking, front foot centre backs, who actually become, like someone said in our thing, auxiliary 6s. The auxiliary 6, and actually big up to whoever's watching who said that. They said, I put Lindelof as an auxiliary 6. Me and KG was laughing for ages. Lindelof,
KG loved that when he heard it, because he heard the word auxiliary and he went, that sounds good.
It sounds really professional. But in reality, though, obviously that was FIFA, but in reality, look at how we play. How many times have you seen Lindelof, even Varane's bombing on, and certainly Martinez, pick up the ball as like backup midfielders, because actually we've got a team pending, because that's how we want to play on the front foot. And then you've got your 3 midfielders literally doing bits in the final third, or one dropping into the wing position because one of the other wingers have gone up front for this spell of possession, and we're keeping the team penned in. So you need ball playing central midfielders, whether they're a 6, whether they're an 8, whether they're a 10. Do you know what I mean? So I don't mind it too much. I just think we also have to get, though, another actual 6, because Mason Mount isn't that. He's an attacking midfielder. And Mason Mount can play on the wings. Okay, we talk about left wing is sorted because you've got Rashi and you've got Garnacho and you've got Sancho, who's moving about a bit right now. So fair enough, we're stacked there. But he can play on the right if you need him to. He can play there. I've seen him do that for Chelsea loads. Yes, with wing backs, but he can play on the right. He can play on the left. He can play in the 10 and he can play in the 8. And I think he can play in a midfield 3 as well. So he is basically, another attribute is he's versatile.
You know what it is as well, is I do feel like we, again, need to take a step back here and say, you know what, every permanent signing, maybe not the loan signings, but every permanent signing that Erik ten Hag has made so far, obviously they were only in the summer, but would you say all of them have been a success so far?
Yeah, I think Anthony's one is overcooked as like he's this flop who hasn't done anything.
Honestly, I've seen him be put in flops of the season.
Yeah,
they put him in there alongside the likes of Sterling and Aubameyang.
Richarlison and that.
Yeah, you're taking the piss. Seriously, those guys have done nothing all season. Yeah. And they've like put him in there like
Mope. It's ridiculous. Like he listen, in-house, you know that thing of like, you can cuss your family member, but if other people try and do it, he has frustrated us with things that we wanted to see. But let's not act like he's done nothing, because he has.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that is nonsense. And also as well, that is shifting of the goalpost, because at the same time, which people like myself have criticized Sancho, and they go, "Come on, you got to give him more time." And Sancho's been there 2 seasons, and he's starting to play a bit better now. But next season, truly a defining season. He'd have been at 3 seasons at United. Anthony, it's his first season. Like, come on, we got, you can start. You can't say, you can't say Sancho's an excuse. You got to give him more time, and then say, Anthony's a flop. I mean, if we're going to give everyone the same amount of time, that's what we've got to do.
I'm not saying that he's going to hit the heights of Jack Grealish or whatever, but I know Pep Guardiola, he improves every player he pretty much comes into contact with, apart from maybe Calvin Phillips. But you get the gist, yeah. Look at everyone was cussing off Jack Grealish last year. Cussing him. And they won the title last year as well, City. Look at him. He's out of his depth. He's awful. Don't do anything. Dead season. And now, he's world class. That's how quickly it's changed, apparently. So you can't just write players off in a season. And again, Anthony, I'm not saying he's the best, and I'm not saying he's going to be the best, because I've got reservations about some aspects of his game, 100%. But you can't act like he's just this awful, useless player, because he's. And
you can't act like he's had a terrible season in comparison to some of the others, because he hasn't. Like he genuinely hasn't.
Fake. It's fake.
Exactly.
Outrage.
It's nonsense. But my point was with that, by the way, was that we're saying that if you look at Ten Hag's record of players that he's wanted and he's brought in so far, he's got a pretty good percentage rate so far, success rate. So again, if this is the player he wants, and by all accounts he's really pushing for him, then he knows better than us. And
also, how many times did we say with this new manager, and people have said it quite a lot of times, it's often the signings that aren't the glittery, shiny, like you expected it, the big marquee, it's going to be this guy. We've been talking about him for ages, and now we finally got him. Sometimes it's the guy that, like you said, the manager knows what profile, knows what he's got in store for the team for the next phase, and he's identified him as someone who will be able to do it.
And he can improve people. He can improve. Like I said, we're looking at someone like a Marcus Rashford this season that has got 30 goals in all comps. He's won Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year. He won Player of the Month, 3 times in the Premier League or something like that this season. So this manager can improve players. So, and again, we're looking at a player like Mason Mount that, didn't have a good season this season, and people can be on the fence about him. Again, he wouldn't be my first pick. He was someone that definitely wasn't in my mind. I thought I could see him playing for Liverpool, but guess what? I could see him doing well. I could see him doing well if he went to Liverpool.
But
so
actually,
he's a terrible player, and lots of people want him. So he mustn't be terrible.
Right. So because Liverpool thought they were going to get him, I know you could say don't compare this and don't compare that, but if he was deemed good enough for Liverpool, there was a real chance he could have gone there, especially if they got Champions League. And I thought of him as that. Maybe he's probably going to go Liverpool. And actually, They rebuild their midfield.
Right, I thought you'd do right there.
Him,
Energy,
McAllister, someone else. And people could say that's not how we play. But how do you know that's not how we play? We don't know what Erik ten Hag's got. Well, we kind of got a guess, to be fair, because of how good he is, Erik ten Hag, that is, of what his next phase is for Man United. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just say that. And actually, I think you're right, Owen. The reason why he wouldn't be your first choice, if you think about it, is because he hasn't been in the media and news as being fed to us as someone we're linked with. If he was, our thoughts and feelings may have changed, quite early on. And I think it's too, like you said, I think it's too lazy to just say he's crap.
That's what I mean. For me,
he was rubbish at Chelsea this year.
Yeah, if you're going to say reasons why, I'm open to him, because again, he wasn't my first choice. But in terms of the reasons that I'm seeing, which is Chelsea don't even want him. Well, that's not true. Again, Poch wants to keep him. No big clubs want him. That's not true, because a lot of big clubs want him. He doesn't really do good numbers. Last season, he did 21 goal contributions, 32 games in the Premier League. So, he can't be terrible. And also, Flex too, let's not act like he hasn't been part of trophy-winning teams, because he has as well.
He's won stuff.
Yeah, he's played in Champions League finals, won Champions League. Like, again, he can't be awful. Thomas Tuchel, when he was there, played him. He can, again, and all of these big managers, Klopp, Ten Hag, Poch, all want him. So they must see something that clearly a lot of people don't. And I say, give me better reasons than just
I want you, because Andy says, what do you guys like and not like about Mount's game? Let's talk about his game, because I've seen Dokus, big up Dokus, having his say. Or her say, I can't see from the picture. But Dokus says he's crap, guys. That's not lazy. It's fact. He's crap. You're saying, so Dokus, you're saying he's dead baller. Dead baller. Can't do nothing. He's crap. Crap means what? You can play for Southampton who just got relegated. That means you're crap, maybe. Championship, you think can't play Prem because you're crap. You put in the comments, and anybody else who agrees with Dokus that Mount's not it, and like what Andy says, put the things that he's not good at of why we shouldn't get him. And also put things like why we should get him. So Mark Egan said he's lightweight. Okay. So he gets pushed off the ball a lot, not strong enough, in your opinion. Omar says Mount is a worse version of Bruno. So that means what? Probably giving the ball away even more than Bruno, then making worse decisions than Bruno, can't keep the ball again. So that's that. He's been crap this season. He's not crap, says Ed. Okay, fair play. He's only 24. Why don't we just get him on a free at 25 next season?
Because he's going to go this summer. Chelsea are selling him.
Exactly.
Also as well, I think Mount's made his decision that he's going this summer. You know what I mean? And Chelsea, given their financial circumstances and their need to and want to spend money, they're selling players this summer, aren't they? Kovacic is going, Mount's going.
Kovacic is going to go Man City. That pissed me off. I don't get.
I said this to you yesterday, and Flex literally was messaging me back. What did he say? Actually, let me see if I can find it, because Flex was particularly upset and angry by this.
Yeah, and then people got angry at me on Twitter saying, "Stop going for the older players, Flex. We can't just copy City and all of that stuff." I thought it came down to how many of our players would get into City's side and all that kind of thing, and then someone that they're going to get who's definitely still good, by the way. And then it's not just tokenism; he's sick.
I saw it. So Romano tweeted it saying that, Man City rather had open talks with Kovacic. And I said, "LOL, this one will hurt you personally." And Flex says in capital letters, "But he's too old for us, for fuck's sake." I was like, oh, straight onto Twitter. "But he's too old for us." Oh.
Listen, again, we'll talk about that afterwards, because that's just going to make everyone else angry, when actually everyone's still arguing about Mason Mount here. This is one of the most divisive shows we've done in ages. But these sorts of things are brilliant in terms of being fans, because that is what it's about. You speak to one person and they will literally say, "Oh yeah, this person's amazing. I love them. I think they're perfect for us." You speak to another person, "Crap. No, top 10 player, just not United," as Dokus said there. Here you go. Long passing isn't good. Not great vision either over long distances. Eriksen, like De Jong, is better in that regard. Okay. He's a good squad player and replacement for Bruno and Eriksen. Versatile player. All this we don't want Mount from United, Arsenal, Liverpool fans. Watch this time next year, said fans will be lauding over the fact the club got him over the other two clubs. Well, that's another thing where time tells everything, doesn't it? Time tells everything. Time and how the player does. If we buy Mason Mount for £60 million, most of us will go, bloody hell, too much, load of rubbish. I can't believe we've done that. English bias, English tax. Why did we do that? Fair play to Liverpool because they didn't want to pay 300k a week. Fair play to Arsenal because they dropped out the race. They saw this coming. It's too much money. If Mason Mount plays wicked next year, not one Man United fan will give a shit.
That's how transfers work. You know, transfer fees only become a big deal when the player isn't successful. That's always how it works. Because if the player is good and successful, then nobody cares. Nobody talks about the transfer fees or anything like that. Casemiro cost a lot of money for was it the third highest ever amount?
And there was a lot of eyebrows.
Yeah, for a lot of eyebrows.
I did a people's eyebrow.
But I don't sit here now go, oh, yeah, tell you what, we spent too much money. I don't care now because I'm like, we've got Casemiro and he was one of our players of the season. So, I mean, that's the thing with transfer fees, isn't it? Is that they're only a big deal when the player isn't successful or isn't playing well. For instance, Anthony this season has an indifferent season, not a flop, but now people go, a transfer fee. Same with Jadon Sancho. A couple of seasons afterwards, we're talking about his transfer fee. Why? Because it hasn't lived up to that. If they're a super success, nobody cares.
Time to Wake Up says Mason just provides depth for the bench. I don't consider him a starter material. Last season, people say Fred is crap. Look at him now, says Viper. Is that true? Mason Mount, he probably would he start?
It's a good point that I don't know. Does he go straight into the team?
Depends how Ten Hag wants to play. Again, he could if he goes. That's what I'm saying. I think the balance is a bit off with Bruno Casemiro, Mount. I think the balance is a bit off. But against most teams, like at home, it probably wouldn't be. You probably could play that.
Bruno and Casemiro. Again, is every Man City signing? Do we go? They're going straight into the first team.
No, and they don't always have to. Akash, I think you've completely decided to just hear what you wanted to hear, Akash. I don't understand how you've taken what I've said about money, that because Casemiro has done well, it means that we don't think about money. You've taken, it's funny how Flex is comparing Casemiro to Mount. Clown. Like, how on earth in your brain, bro, have you taken that from me saying that and Owen saying that if a player does well, we tend to forget about the money spent versus, Mount's as good as Casemiro. I mean, look, just because Casemiro has won 5 Champions Leagues, don't mean Mount's not better than him or as good as him. How have you taken that, bro?
The point was
it's a crazy place. It's a crazy place.
Again, with transfers, and I would use another one then. So for someone like Darwin Núñez at Liverpool, not even a United player, goes for a lot of money. People talk about his transfer fee because they go, I tell you what, this season, blah, blah, blah. If Darwin Núñez had scored 30 goals, no one would care about it. Now say, I can't believe you're comparing Mason Mount to Darwin Núñez, different position or anything like that. But that's the point. We got a ton of super chats as well, Flex.
Yes, ton of super chats. Let's go. Mount is, don't know if we read that one already. I think we did actually last. Yeah, we did. That's high up the list. Let's go down to there. Here we go. JD says at 4 a.m. in can't pronounce that. Croix. St. Croix.
I would assume it's a silent X.
Yeah, St. Croix. I wonder where that is. Can we Google that, see where that is actually? It'd be interesting to know. At 4 a.m. in St. Croix, sure on Mount. Not sure on Mount, but in Eric Ten Hag we trust.
One of the US Virgin Islands in the Caribbean.
Oh, right. Wicked. Big up that. Just like how the Caribbean people as well. Big up. Never heard of that. Little place. Byron says this year he wasn't good, but Chelsea wasn't. Look at his goals and assists last season. He will shock people. Owen did do that, and he was saying he's quite good. Similar to Bruno's numbers this year, really, is what Mason Mount got last year. WJ Barrett says Mount first, then his best pal Rice, then Kane and Kim Min Jae. He's got it all worked out. Eliza says he has so many attributes similar to Bruno. Watch as he develops into a world beater. He'll improve immensely. Kane will be the best striker next year in the world next year. Andy says, what do you guys do? We did that one, Andy. Thank you for that. And Scar says, so if the budget is 100 million and we get Mount for 70, where does that leave us? We have so many other positions to fill. Still need to see central defensive midfielder, centre back, and 2 strikers. Agreed with you, and that's what we're kind of like. Well, would this suggest that it isn't as little as we think? Because if we do pay that for him, 70 million, which is way too much. I know
it would be. I think it'd be.
I don't think it would.
55, 60, something like that.
But clearly a sizable chunk. It's going to be over half of the reported 100 million, and then obviously player sales, which would take. You would think if we could sell the right amount of players, we could probably raise about 100. So let's say there's a 200 kitty. You're right. I don't know. I
think now, given some of these numbers come around, I don't think that budget is. It can't be 100. It would be reckless, wouldn't it? It'd be KG levels of reckless if that's what it was.
Which has worked in the past. Ed says Mason Mount in for Scott / Sabitzer is good, but not over 40 million in my opinion. Yeah, I think he's a 40 million pound player, 45 million pounds, but because he's young still, because he's English tax, because he's played in a lot of big games, because he's a Champions League winner,
because he plays for Chelsea.
Because he plays for Chelsea, it is going to be the upper of 50, 55, I think at minimum. And think of that what you will. Tiny Tink says, big up to Flex and the gang. Mount is 24 years old and he's had one bad season. He's an upgrader for Eriksen. I trust Erik ten Hag. Glory, Man United. Yeah, because a lot of people aren't doing that as well. A lot of people are just saying he's crap. Don't get him. He's not going to make us any better. He doesn't bring us anything. As opposed to the other side, which is always going to believe in Ten Hag, believe in his plan. He knows what he's doing. But just because they're your manager doesn't mean you have to agree with absolutely everything they do. You know, you don't have to agree with Ten Hag subs all the time. You don't have to agree with the signings. And then obviously you wait for new evidence, don't you? So if he does sign Mount, and then you have to hold your hands up maybe and say, wow, couldn't see it. Or you go, oh, Lucas proves right. Vibe says, last season, people say Fred was crap. Oh, yeah, look at him now. So we've read that as well. That is all the super chats.
We got some members chats, from Lil Yo-Yo, who's been a member for 9 months, says, I'm 50-50 on Mount. As long as we get another deep line midfielder, looks like we're mounting on this deal. But also hope you're the preferred bidder, Fleck Althani. And VK's gifted 10 memberships. 10, count them, Flex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10.
VK's on a madness, man. Always comes through with just a madness. Really does. There's another super chat here, I believe. Yes, LZ Mueller says, saw Arnold after the West Ham game and told him Glazers out, full sell only. And he fully acknowledged me. Almost nodded his head. Was in the exec area in the West Ham bit. Well, he's giving you a beer. Tell you what.
Did he buy you a beer? Yeah. You went, that's a beer. Get beers in.
Listen, big up LZ Mueller. If you've seen Richard Arnold and he's giving you give you a little, then maybe it is full sell only, Glazers out, not partially out. Exactly. Wow, that Mason Mount thing. We need done at 40 minutes, and we could probably do a whole show on it. To summarize, let's summarize on Mason Mount before we move along to another
Harry Kane
player. May as well just end the stream now. I mean, everyone's going to be fuming. I'll give my closing thoughts on Mount. I was surprised to see us linked with him, and at the beginning, my vibe was, nah, not for me. Obviously, the more you get acquainted to a player, it looks like you're going to get them. You've got to then start saying to yourself, it's a real reality. So how would you feel about them actually in your team? And I think he can give us a lot. I do. I think he's a multifunctional player. One that I think in Erik ten Hag's system with how we want to play can help this team. Is he what I thought we was going to get? No. But I do trust in Erik ten Hag. And I am a bit annoyed that the money may be crazy. But like we've said before, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, it's either that or you don't get players. I have said before, though, I do want us to get those young up-and-coming players, like I keep saying, from France or Portugal, wherever it is, central midfielders. Why do we never find them? But if Erik ten Hag's identified someone who's tried and tested and has done it at the top level already, sometimes you can't argue with that. So I'm not against it, is my closing statement.
My closing statement is, Flex, that Erik ten Hag knows best. If Erik ten Hag wants him, we give Erik ten Hag what he wants. Like I said, it wouldn't have been my first pick for our first signing of the summer or a midfield signing. But if Ten Hag has seen him and likes him, then Ten Hag knows better than you and I. And on top of that, I think it should be the first of many. You know what I mean? It should be the first of many signings. Like you said, a bit concerned about the fee and all that kind of stuff. But I'm also not going to be completely revisionist and be like, Mason Mount's never played a good match ever or anything like that. Because, like I said, he has achieved a lot at Chelsea. And I think Ten Hag can get more out of him than we've already seen, which in some times has been all right. So, yes, I'm not against it either. Yes,
big decision for him as well. Actually, before we move on, because he come through their academy. You know, he is part of the problem.
He's Chelsea
he's been there since he was like 7 or 8, isn't he? So
yeah.
It's him likes Reece James, etc. Like they who have made it into the first team as guys from the academy like that.
But to be fair, he's just one of many that's had that story of coming through Chelsea. He's probably had one of the most success coming through the academy.
I was going to say though, it's different with him. He's gone to win the Champions League, bro. It's not just like
exactly
like a Loftus-Cheek or something like that, or whoever else, Baroja or other players who just they come through and then they go loads. He's came, cemented himself in the first team, won the Champions League, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like won the Champions League. What else did they win? No, that's the only thing they won, isn't it? Did they win any domestic?
Champions League, Club World Cup.
They got to the final. They got to loads of finals. They kept losing, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. From one polarizing player to another polarizing player, Harry Kane. And before you do that, Owen, we've got basically 2,000 people watching. Please smash a like on the video. Smash a like on the video. I'm not going to say for the players because it's too polarizing. Smash a like on the video for democracy, for freedom of speech, for football debate. There you go. For being able to come here and have your opinions be heard and not shut down. Unless you call me a clown for saying that Casemiro is not as good as Mount.
Yeah, exactly. Flex, are you trying to say that Neymar isn't as good as Mason Mount? Is that what you're trying to say?
Rather have Neymar. Rather have Mason Mount than Neymar.
Is that what you're trying to say? Harry Kane. Yes, the latest when it comes to Harry Kane. So this comes from Sammy Mockable from the Daily Mail once again, saying that Harry Kane is open to joining Manchester United, but, and this is quite a big but, Flex, it remains to be seen if he is willing to agitate for a move. Early indications are that Daniel Levy will refuse to sell Kane to a Premier League side this summer, but United are not giving up of that stance softening. So basically what they're saying is, one, Kane, if he's going to move anywhere this summer, he would move to United. He's open to moving to United, but as far as does he want to force for a move, they don't know just yet. And really, that's what it's going to take, isn't it? That's what it would take.
Well, just on that, just really quickly, Laurie Whitwell, 1 minute ago, Man United hold detailed talks over Atlanta striker Rasmus Hoiljund. Erik Ten Hag ideally wants a young forward plus an experienced one. Hoiljund is 20, falls into the category. Frankfurt's Randall Kolo-Muani, which we also know about, also discussed negotiations over Mason Mount as well. So it's So obviously this is about Kane, but Laurie Whitwell is saying, and what a lot of us have wanted to hear. And these are the stories from journalists that do really well because it's what we want to hear. It's what we want to embrace. You get Kane and you get this Rasmus Hoiljund kid, which I haven't seen loads of him. I've seen a couple of clips.
But that's what they had said previously. The reports that were out there previously, they said if we get Hoiljund in the summer, which is a chance, and there's been those things going around that he's actually a United fan and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. They said if we do get him, that's not the striker that we're getting. No, that's
exactly the position we want to be in.
Exactly. That's one of two probably strikers that we'll be getting because he is still young. I think he's 20. And again, hasn't played a ton of seasons for Atalanta. But the point being is he might not be completely ready right now. So we would need to get a striker that's more ready. But given the situation we find ourselves in, striker-wise, Flex, at the moment, that we're going into an FA Cup final at the weekend and Martial's injured again, we need more. We need more than one striker anyway. So if you've got Hoiljund plus, I don't know if it's going to be Harry Kane, but if it's Hoiljund plus another striker, I'm going, actually, that's options. And that's what we haven't had this season. Options.
Exactly. Options. Need 2,000 people watching live. Smash a like on the video. Please hit subscribe button if you haven't subscribed as well. Please do that. If you're first time just seeing the channel, if you're first time coming across us. Here we've got a comment here. It says United View is the best United fan channel. The quality of the travel vlog is unmatched, and it's the only fan channel to cover the women's team as well. Are we the only fan? No, there's got to be other surely other channels must cover the women's team as well.
I'd hope so. You got to.
Exactly, especially if you've got a massive. You should be. It's not just about views. But big up to everyone. Yeah. So if you're just joining us, just quickly, the latest update from Laurie Whitwell said Man United hold detailed talks over Atlanta's striker Rasmus Hoiljund. Erik ten Hag ideally wants Atalanta. Sorry, yes. Same with Atletico. I always used to say Atletico, and it's not. It's Atletico. Erik ten Hag ideally wants a young forward plus an experienced one. Hoiljund 20 falls into former category. Frankfurt's Kolo Muani also discussed, and he also says that negotiations are on for Mason Mount as well. So yeah, I mean, on the Kane, which back to Kane.
But kind of it's good timing actually.
It's all in, it's all in one because that basically fits in with what we are saying as fans, what we've been told as fans, what we know as fans. We need 2 strikers, so 100% that's fine. Hoiljund has been linked. He looks okay from the clips I've seen. Now I know we're really linked with him. I'm going to do a bit more research, but I want to see some 90-minute games. I might do the real scouting thing. I might do the real. Let's go through 90-minute reels. Yeah, call up the scout. I'll call him up. He's coming back. He's been on. Obviously, he goes on holiday during the winter and during the season. Comes back out as summer.
He's not working. He should be working. I think he's been working all season, isn't he?
Yeah, actually get him to report back to us what he's found during. Yeah, that's true. So Kane open to United move, and I think, look, I just don't think Kane has it in him, and I hope I'm wrong. I don't think he has it in him to really agitate for the move because I think that's the only way he's going to get this move. If he really wants United as much as he says he does, first of all, we got to put down the money, like we said on a few shows ago. Don't care what Daniel Levy says. Put the money down. Put the 100 million down on the table first. And then you have to say to Harry Kane, this is a double team effort because we're working against Daniel Levy together to get you out of there and to get you here. So we've done our bit. We've put the money down. Daniel hasn't responded to us. He hasn't emailed back and he hasn't picked up the phone or answered the fax machine. But we can tell you that the bid is in. The bid is in.
I think you're like we were saying before. You need to do that.
It's on Kane.
You do that first one early. Yeah. And to be fair, it does look like United are acting fairly early because we're getting Mason Mount personal terms agreed. We've had detailed talks over potential deals for Rasmus Hoiljund, Randall Kolo Muani as well. So clearly they're moving quick. They see a need to move quick. In just a bit of an update from that Laurie Whitwell piece as well. He also writes that John Murtough has stepped up dialogue around transfer targets since United secured Champions League football with the aim of knowing the numbers involved on fees and wages ahead of the market opening, which again is very unlike Man United. So that before the market's even opened, they know exactly how much, what the wages are. And you could argue that is maybe due diligence in the sense of, well, maybe we can't actually do those deals right now. But if there is any movement on a takeover thing, we can move things along pretty quickly if that does speed up. You might think.
And the thing about business as usual, which we have been saying as well.
Exactly.
Which Laurie Whitwell says Man United's ownership flux is adding some uncertainty to budgets, but Ten Hag and the club's recruitment staff are progressing on the basis of business as usual. And the fact that, we're getting these Hoiljund discussions, we're getting these, like, we know that it's Kane that we want. We definitely know that. And we're getting personal terms agreed with Mason Mount, all on the back of the most uncertainty this club's probably ever faced.
And on top of that as well, those reports that come out that basically say, look, United, Kim Min-jae, fairly close. They're just waiting for July.
So there's there.
Is there some strategy involved here? Is there some? Because we know, let's face it, right, at this point, we know at least 4 players that United legitimately.
Yeah, but chill. Chill.
No, but no, I'm not saying we're getting them.
I know, but chill. It doesn't mean it. No, I'm saying it doesn't mean it until anything's done. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that was something I was
positive signs
about Mason Mount when they're saying, being proactive. And I said, personal terms are agreed, but you do look at that fee. And there is quite a lot of discrepancy in terms of 55 to 85. You've got to somehow figure out that 30 million gap. And we always do say, Talks FC, ask me a question.
Exactly. And it's to you, but more importantly, it's to the whole community, actually.
Ask everyone a question.
Would you guys feel happier at getting, for the people who don't want Kane, because he's too old, etc., would you be okay with getting Kane if it was backed up by Hoiljund? I know that doesn't really apply to you because you want Kane regardless.
I want Kane anyway, yeah.
But okay, so to the people who do want Kane, can we flip the question to make it fit? That do you think that the people who don't want Kane would be happier getting Kane, even if it's for 100 million for a 30-year-old, because I don't want to, knowing that we've got the younger Hoiljund kid there, or Evan Ferguson, like Knights put there, or is it just no to Kane because he's 30 and his ankles and all this crap? Like what?
If we get Harry Kane and also we get Hoiljund, I'm getting very excited. I'm not going to go KG level and say we're going to win the league or anything like that. But I'm saying that's proper business, yeah. If you had a transfer window of Kane, which, to be honest, as I've said, I'd love Harry Kane, but I just don't think we're going to get him. I can see him staying at Spurs. I think Daniel Levy's like, no, I'm not. It feels very Frankie de Jong-ish. You know what I mean? There's a party that wants the deal to happen, but maybe the most important party here, which is probably Daniel Levy, is like, no, so it's not happening, you know? And he's the one that has the power. So I don't necessarily see that. But hypothetically, if we got Kane, Hoiljund, Mount, and Kim Min-jae, and even that was, and possibly other business, but that was 4, I'd be like, oh, Jesus, I didn't see that coming. That's not a bad window.
It's not.
That's not terrible.
No.
Plus player sales.
Kane plus Mount is a no. Okay. If we get both, I will look forward to the season big time. That would be brilliant. Flex with Hoiljund like that. It's not FIFA. They are people with careers and other options, says Declan, i.e. would he like to come here and be second fiddle? I think, look, I can't speak for the kid. I know not a lot about him, but my personal opinion is he's a 20-year-old kid coming from Atalanta going to Manchester United.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to
go, well, I ain't going to be the number one star, Eric. Nah, mate.
Yeah.
What, I'm going to be behind Harry Kane? Who's he? Who is he? What's he done? What's he ever won in his career? What's he won in his career? Even me. I'm a Hoiljund. Even I've won the under-20s. I've won the under-20s cup. What's he won? He's won nothing.
But this is also what you're saying, Flex, too, is you're saying, and I know this isn't exactly mid-table French side, but you're saying I want to be getting these players that are up and coming. I want to get these players that haven't, you know, their peak's still quite a way off, but they can get there eventually. I want to get these players that are sort of hotly tipped prospects around Europe, and then they come in, and suddenly 6 months in, 9 months in, 12 months in, we go, I can't believe that. That's an unbelievable signing. Does Hoiljund kind of fit that territory? Is that what you're looking for?
I think he does. Again, I can't sit on this video now and say, oh, his movement's excellent.
I love those videos.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm being honest, because I haven't seen him like that. I just know he's highly tipped. All you guys want him. But he's it's a plan. I like more so than the player to fall in love with, because I haven't fell in love with the player because I haven't watched him enough, which I will do now. I know we're in for him more. I'm going to look at some stuff, but I'm more in love with that process or that plan of getting Kane or whoever the number one striker is going to be, and the younger kid of Hoiljund, or it could be Kolo Muani. We don't know, but a younger up and coming kid, which is what we're crying out for. And I think that will ease, which we've seen there, will ease a lot of people's minds in terms of don't just spend the big P's on the older player, and then what do we do in 3-4 years? Even though that's not a problem for me personally in this circumstance with Harry Kane, that's not an issue for me because of what he brings instantly and what he will bring, which is goals, and assists. Simple. Yeah. For the next 3 years at least minimum, and beyond, I would say.
What I do like, though, is it does certainly appear that we can talk about the players. Maybe certain people might not like certain players, Mason Mount, Harry Kane, whatever. But it appears that the club, and I think the fans, are seemingly very much aligned on what the positional targets are, what we need in the summer. Like, it's very clear that United, like, they're going for a striker, at least one, probably two. It's very clear that United have gone, we need an 8. We're going to get Mason Mount. It's very clear that United are like, we need another centre-back. We're going to try and get Kim Min-jae, someone like that. And I guess that kind of feeds into the Harry Maguire news as well, where it's like, that's his last game.
There's a plan.
For the weekend.
And actually, just quickly, big up Laurie. I have to message him actually and say it needed this. For anyone wanting a crash course on Rasmus Hoiljund, Mark Kerry of The Athletic has written a superb report, mixes the anecdotal with statistics, and he's put the link to it there. So I will be indulged in that. And the next video you see me, I will be like, best thing since sliced bread, we have to get him. But yeah, so there is an article on The Athletic by Mark Carey, which is literally a crash course. That's literally what I needed. A crash course.
Yes.
Perfect for right now. Perfect.
Exactly.
Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are currently on 480 likes with 2,000 people watching. Guys, the higher we can go, the better. Not going to put a limit on it, but if you can smash a like, that'd be much appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you forgot to do that and you've just come across us and your YouTube recommendation just found you here and you're like, oh wow, look at this channel, never seen it before. Hit subscribe, you won't be disappointed. Really quickly, last couple. Well, Harry Maguire, last game on Saturday.
Yes,
if he even comes off the bench.
Possibly, yeah. So this came from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail saying that Harry Maguire is in line for a £10 million payoff from Manchester United if he leaves Old Trafford this summer. This is, of course, because he's actually still got several years left on his contract at Manchester United. But it did continue by saying Saturday's FA Cup final is likely to be Maguire's last game as a United player. So the expectation is that, like you said, if he does get involved somehow, some way, if United win, it'll be the possible, disgrace cheat, lift up the trophy. Lift up the trophy a bit like he did with Bruno for the Carabao Cup. It might be the last thing he ever does as a Manchester United player. I'd be shocked if it wasn't, to be honest, at this rate. I would be really surprised if we start next season and Harry Maguire still a Manchester United player. I will say, like, what's happened? Like, because this is a guy clearly that Ten Hag, it's not Ten Hag's preferred player. That's clear. I mean, you've got Varane, Lindelof, Martinez, Shaw ahead of him, plus another centre-back coming in. And it's not as if that there are clubs that don't want Harry Maguire as well. I don't think it's going to be a particularly difficult player to move on either. So I'd be very surprised if it wasn't his last game. What say you, Flack?
Yes, 100% agreed. I don't see how he can stay. I don't see it. Harry Maguire's not going to want to stay under these circumstances, playing 5 minutes at the end of games and being on the bench for 90% of the games. Erik Ten Hag isn't going to want a player like Harry Maguire just sitting there on the bench, eating out his budget, when he could, use that money to go and invest. And then in terms of the playing style of Harry, Erik Ten Hag, I think we all know that Erik Ten Hag doesn't want that. Yeah, I mean, the reports about the 10 million because he's got 3 years left or 2 years left has he got?
Yeah, he's got several years left in his contract.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said,
that's our own fault for giving him, the big boy contracts. That's
exactly.
We have to reap what you sow, and I think actually that's where the club, we're in that bit of we have to write off a lot of stuff. You have to, it's collateral, isn't it? You have to write off the fact that you paid 80 million for him and you're only going to be able to sell him for half that, mostly. You're not going to get much more than half that. You have to write off the fact that he's on so much wages and you put him on as that and you made him captain. You have to foot the bill for that. You have to, if you want to move on. Yeah,
you do. And by the way, as well, this is off topic, but have you seen the tactical preview for the FA Cup final here on United View?
We should have said it earlier, actually, but we've got 2,000 of you in here now, pretty much. Make sure you check it out. We drafted in James from the Emirates, the tactical genius, alongside Cam, our tactical genius. And actually, I tell you what, James, you're disgracing the cheat because you haven't beat City once this year, have you?
Yeah.
So,
but that's what you need to do. You need to go to a guy and say, "Look, you've lost 3 times. What did you do wrong? What did you do wrong?" Yeah, we can just do the opposite of what you do. I think essentially his analysis was don't bottle it, mate, because that's what Arsenal did.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it is really, really good to, you know what it is? I think when you get 2 tactical people who love that type of content and are really good at that type of content in their tactical bag together. And I know we got a lot of Tactical View fans in here. I've seen comments on Tactical Views that say, I literally only watch United View for that, and that's why this channel is amazing. If I may big us up myself, because we've literally got a little bit of something for everybody. There's probably some people who only tune in to watch FIFA because that's all they like,
Yeah.
Some people just tune in
if that's the case.
Yeah, what they must think of me as a person if they think I'm defined by that 2-hour session on a Tuesday. I promise you, that's me on the computer game. I'm not actually like that in real life. But honestly, yeah, it's really good. Or people may tune in to see Minna doing great stuff and pushing the women's game and the women's progress, which we're doing as a channel. So yes, some people just watch the full view, etc., etc. But the tactical view is really, really good. So make sure you guys check it out. Straight after this, it's already up. It's been up since yesterday. Go check it out. So yeah, Harry Maguire, we can't see how it won't be his last game. And there was one last thing on Sheikh Jassim. Very quickly, because he's basically like this.
Yeah, essentially, the news is that, again, there's not a lot of news when it comes to the takeover. Jamie Jackson is saying that basically, for those that still are asking about it, Sheikh Jassim is still waiting to hear back from the Glazers regarding his last bid for Manchester United, which of course was a couple of weeks ago now. So, guys, I don't think we're hearing anything until, I don't know at this point. They'll be there. The Avram Glazer will be there at the weekend most likely, and then I don't know. I don't know, Fleck. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. We don't. It's very, very true. And Show Rama says, are you still doing FIFA every Tuesday over the summer? Absolutely. And we'll do it in a few different ways as well. I mean, Owen's pretty handy. Josh has started to learn the buttons now. Minna's an expert apparently, because she's in the chat all the time cussing us, saying what to do. So she must be the best player in the world. Marcel wants to play.
Yeah, there's FIFA spin-off coming to future episodes of UV Raw, because I can confirm that myself and Josh have played a lot of FIFA games recently, and the majority of them have been recorded. So they're kind of nuts. And they're only allowed on UV Raw because you couldn't put them on the normal channel.
They got to be on the Raw. But yes, guys, smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We've got previews coming up for the big one, the final on Saturday. We've got some interesting stuff with a Manchester United player coming up. Great video coming for you guys as well, ASAP. So yes, keep it tuned, locked in for the next couple of days. Well, all the time, but over the next couple of days in particular. And of course, it's ever changing with the transfer stuff. It's already all kicked in and the window's not even open yet. So you know what that means. There's going to be a hell of a lot to talk about and to dissect. Thanks for watching this morning, guys. We'll see you all again soon. Peace.